Welcome to Breaking Solo, how solopreneurs break barriers, build brands, and embrace the future of business.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with us again today. I'm very excited to have Stephen Hart on the podcast. And Stephen, would you tell the audience a little about yourself?
Well, Donna, thank you so much for having me. It's great to share time in this conversation. Stephen A. Hart. I am a story brand marketing coach. I'm a personal brand strategist, as well as a dad to two crumb snatchers and a proud husband to my wife, Kristen, of 16 years.
Wow, good for you. How old are the kids?
Our daughter is now 14 going on 15. Our son is 10 going on 11. So
Oh,
they like to say they're no longer crumb snatchers. I tell them that will always be the label.
there you go. That's right. Awesome. They're getting into those preteen years.
Yep, one is fully into the teen years now.
That's great. So tell me, what inspired you to go solo in your business?
Yeah, I wish I could say, Donna, that was something fun, something inspiring. I was at a place in my life and my career where I began to one sort of feel like there was nowhere in my corporate career that I would be able to sort of move where I wasn't limiting my earning potential or my growth. And that began to also have an impact on my mental as well as my physical health. In senior leadership in corporate, just the burnout, the long hours, the stress, and I was also truly concerned about the reliance on one paycheck, on one employer, in what is now a business and political climate that where layoffs are so ripe, right?
Yeah.
And everywhere. So I wanted to also uh, look at creating uh, multiple income streams from a diverse base of clients. And so that was kind of what inspired me to move into being solo.
All good reasons. I would not want to be working for any government agency right now.
That's right. Yeah. I'm in the DC area as well. So I live in
Oh,
Maryland. And so it is all around me.
yeah. That's just not good. Not good at all. So, what's been your biggest challenge on your solopreneur journey and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. The challenge, there probably several. The challenge right now in the journey is at this very point that we're talking, is being at a place where I'm growing. I'm not yet at the place where I can afford to hire additional FTE, full-time employees, but I need to outsource and, to be able to scale, right? I have to make the decision to either hire or dial back on the one-on-one services and really focus on building offerings that allow me to serve one-on-many. So that's one of the, I'd say, challenging, decisions that I'm working through navigating right now.
Wow. That's a tough spot to be in. Where
It is.
you need to have more people helping, but yeah, I
And
get
I
it.
don't want to turn away work,
Right.
but it's figuring out, okay, where can I also make a decision. I actually did this today. I made a decision to outsource a project to another partner who would just pay me a finder's fee and let go of doing that work, but realizing that that client might also bring additional business over the long term as I grow.
Good luck, Stephen.
Thank you.
It'll work out. I know
It
it will.
always does.
Yes, it does. So, have you ever had a moment where you thought, I'm going to give up on this?
So not in its present, not in this present run, but I will say I have had prior runs, Donna, in entrepreneurship. Um, I founded and ran a business for about 6 years. That eventually, I found myself in the summer of 2008 at the beginning of the Great Recession.
Hmm.
You know, 3 weeks into my marriage, lost several $1 million in my business. And I went from, promising my fiance a seven-figure brownstone to post marriage saying, "Hey, can you pay the rent?" For a couple of years. And so I never gave up on that business. Made a decision to rebuild. Um, Eventually, I did sell my stake in the business, and that was driven more so on being part of a business partnership that I didn't think had a long view. Just there are too many problems there. And I decided to walk away, and focus on really being present for my wife and then, 8 year old kid, right? Year 2 year old kid. So,
Hard decisions, but have to be made sometimes.
yeah, absolutely.
So, do you have a unique niche that you focus on?
I do. So, back in 2016, I started a podcast, and I was focused then on highlighting the success of successful Black entrepreneurs and leaders. And so, that's always been sort of a sub, niche group of people. I always tend to uh, consume my content as well as support my products. And so I would tell you that professional Black women are always, a segment of an audience that really does appreciate what I do. And right now, I am focused more broadly on 9 to 5 working professionals. I'm actually in the process right now of building community membership for 9 to 5 working professionals, helping them do a lot of what we talked about so far in beginning to create offers and income streams that help position them to be a little bit more layoff proof.
That's a great service, Stephen. Congratulations for
I'm really
coming up
excited
with
about
that.
it.
Yeah, I guess. So, because you focus on brand, how do you stand out from your competition?
In a number of different ways, I think that being very clear about who it is that I'm serving, that was a problem that I had early on, right? Before starting the podcast, I didn't really think about who it was that I was looking to serve. And I often tell people you're not serving everyone. If you're serving everyone, and you're serving no one in particular. And so one of the things that really helped me to stand out, Donna, is being very clear. I mean, to, the most granular detail about who is that person I'm really serving. And better than anyone else can, I am getting into the mindset, into the life experiences of that person in real time. And I'm thinking about what is keeping them up at night. And once you get the more clear you get about that one person, uh, you end up serving several people like them. And if you can just focus on providing tremendous value to that one person, free and or paid, you are going to be quite okay.
Yeah,
And so there's the brand identity, the visual elements that everybody gets caught up in, but that's not what separates you from the crowd.
exactly. Good for you. I've always said that if you're a small fish in the ocean compared to a big fish in a pond, it'll be easier to spread your message in the pond.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, do you see any industry trends that solopreneurs should be paying attention to?
Yes. So we just talked about having better clarity around both your niche and your audience segment. I think everyone right now is looking at AI more broadly as the small fish in the ocean. And how could we take that analogy, right, and say you're the big fish in the pond? How could you be the big fish in the pond with AI? So how can you look at your particular segment, your particular niche, um, that value that you bring? How could you now make yourself much more valuable with AI? And helping that client that you're serving be more efficient, be more productive, be able to access what they need that much faster. AI is here to stay.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And I think it's figuring out how we move in that direction quickly.
For sure. So is that that's one of the things that I believe is going to shift how solopreneurs actually work in the future. Do you see any others that is going to cause that shift or a shift?
Any other specifically to AI or beyond AI?
Beyond AI.
Technology is just it is the game changer, right? Beyond technology, if we want to talk about things that don't scale but help to separate you, I would tell you that the your focus on your customer experience is something that I think we lose sight of in many cases. My wife works in the hospitality industry, and by way of that, I have the privilege of being able to stay in very expensive resorts that I otherwise would not stay in. And it is such a separator, right? Like from every other hotel experience, when I step into a Ritz-Carlton or a St. Regis hotel, uh, bar none, I understand why somebody would spend $2,000 or $3,000 a night on that hotel. And it sometimes, my wife often reminds me, some of the things aren't necessarily things that scale, but by just doing some little things different than anyone else would, you leave such an indelible mark. I'll give you an example of that. Last summer, we were in Puerto Rico at St. Regis, and it's beautiful property, Donna, for a week. And there was a night we were celebrating. My wife and I celebrated our 16th wedding anniversary while we were there. So we went out to dinner one night, and she had we both had a lovely meal, and the property spread out, so lush vegetation. But the walk back to to our room is probably like a half mile, right? And you could jump on one of these little buggies, or you could just walk. And we walked all the way back, get back to the hotel. We're getting set to go to bed, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I left my leftovers on the table." Like, she just wanted to carry back the leftovers, and she's so disappointed. And I was standing in the bathroom just then, and I was like, I bet, like, this is going to show up at our door. And don't you know, Donna, a butler knocked on the door just then and said, "Mrs. Hart, you left your food at the restaurant." This guy walked, right?
The half mile.
Half mile back to her room to give her a little box of leftovers. Right. And so we can talk about the one side of it that's embracing tech, but not lose sight of the other things that will separate you that no one else is doing. We talk about handwritten notes. I picked up a box of, thank you cards, a dozen thank you cards that probably cost, a little bit more expensive than would be a Hallmark. But I sat here and wrote handwritten notes to new clients and put those in the mail. Had to go to the post office, something that we don't do anymore,
Right.
and get stamps and put it in the mail.
Good for you.
My thought is, a client receiving that's not something that happens anymore. We'll send them an email, but that was a touch, right? A touch point that leaves that indelible mark. What are you doing to separate yourself in that way?
Yeah. The experience. That's why I loved the book Unreasonable Hospitality. Yes, great book. Okay, so what's one tool, app, or resource that you can't live without?
Ooh, several. I'm a Google user, and there are several Google hacks that and just workflows that are helpful for me. We're talking a lot about AI. I'm a big user of Descript for doing a lot around. I'm a video and podcast guy. That's my tool of choice to do a lot of the work I do. And But Google, I would say, Google's suite of tools really are my go-to every day. I could not live without Google.
All right, fair enough.
Final answer.
All right, so we all have to deal with mindset and focus and productivity. Do you have daily habits that help you in those areas?
Yeah. So one of the things that's maybe not work driven, but is a daily habit that I attempt to engage in every single morning. And I'm coming out of winter, so it was a challenge to do it during the winter months, but I walk. I walk every morning. I When it's nice like it is now, as we move into spring, I try to get outside right after I drop the kids in the morning. I'll come back and I'll try and get in 2 miles, a 2 mile walk. The reason I do that, Donna, is one, it helps to remove the anxiety and stress. That was always a tactic that worked for me in corporate leadership, and separately, it just sets the tone for the day. Right, it allows you to clear your mind. And I have a walking treadmill inside that I'll do that if I can't get outside. I still try and get that 2 miles in. And if I'm indoors, then I can catch up on my sports center and, the news and the other things while I'm walking. But walking sets the tone for the day. And then in terms of other productivity hacks, we talked about Google. I will tell you that I've become very productive leveraging Google Chrome has a tab group feature. I don't know if you've ever leveraged. Are you a Google Chrome user?
Yes, I am.
Do you leverage the groups feature in tab?
Only I've done it occasionally, but I think it was by mistake.
So let me tell you how I actually found this to be tremendously useful. I often find that if I'm talking to 2 or 3 clients in a day, I could have several windows with dozens of tabs open, right? And you can't find anything. So, Donna, what I do and what I've started doing is I will create a group for a client, open a fresh window, and I create a tab group for my client in a fresh window. As we begin to walk through different things in our call and I'm opening all these tabs, right? They're set to that client. When I'm done with that client, I can close the group. And if I'm coming back to that group, 2 days from now to now begin to work again and execute whatever we talked about, guess what happens? All my tabs open back exactly as they were. So I
That's
don't
brilliant.
lose what we were talking about because I go close tabs, not thinking about it. And then I'm missing things about the place, right?
Yeah.
So I have a group for each of my clients, and it is amazing. I can pick back up, where we were. Everything is in its place. And again, I leverage the mix of Google Docs and Google Sheets, with our clients. But that is definitely a productivity hack that helps me just keep it moving.
That's really brilliant. Now I'm going to explore that some more.
You should. I hope everyone listening does.
Yeah, they should too.
Right after they get 10 to 12,000 steps in walking.
Exactly. Okay, so is there one piece of advice that you would give someone that's just starting their solopreneur journey?
Talked about it just now, right? It's committing to getting to understand that person that you really, really want to serve, right? Get to know them intimately as you can. Understand again what their challenge is, what's keeping them up at night, what are their goals and dreams. Figure out what they love. Listen, and you might be like, I don't know how I'm gonna get that information. Here's a tip for you. You may use Apple iMessage, you may use WhatsApp. Go find a dozen people that fit the demographic of your ideal client in your network, in your Facebook, in your LinkedIn, in your WhatsApp. What I've done is actually open a Google Sheets and created columns for each of these people. And I'll just have a chat with them in a DM, a regular conversation. Hey, Donna, how you doing? Donna, I'm working on something. Let me pick your brain for a little bit, anything you're dealing with that's, and we just have a regular conversation. And I have a dozen of those chat threads open, asking everybody the same block of questions. And what ends up happening, you start get clarity around the common themes between those people. And that helps you to understand, where is there a challenge that you could solve? Where is there a problem that you could really provide tremendous value? And so it doesn't have to be this formal survey and, you getting down into something real complicated. It could be as simple as a text thread that helps you extract some of this information. But get to that place where you understand the value that you can bring better than anyone else. And understand this: if you could figure out how to create a solution that you charge $1,000 for each person you help, and you help 1,000 people, you're now earned $1 million.
That's great advice, Stephen. That's a great way to get that data that you really need
Yeah.
to
I've
connect
done it
with.
several times over for different products in
That's
WhatsApp.
really
Yeah.
good for you. Okay, so tell me if you have any exciting projects or launches coming up soon.
Dude, Donna, I'm talking about it, and it's not yet forward facing to the world yet, but it is developing in the background, and it is this baby that I am birthing that is just amazing. We talked about it. It is a membership community. I am calling Beyond One, and it is intended to serve working professionals, 9-to-5ers, who are gainfully employed, who are really concerned about the risk of having just one paycheck, and are concerned about the potential of being laid off. And I am creating a community with courseware, with support, right? So you're going to access the education, you're going to access the accountability and the support, as well as, the help you need, right, to begin to take the knowledge, the skill, the talent that you have, and create additional offerings, additional income streams that you can generate for the output, not necessarily the time that you put into it. What do I mean by that? I am talking about things like consulting, where you could offer an output that someone wants. They don't care, Donna, if you spent 2 hours or 40 hours. They want that output, right? And so that is what I want to be able to do. And the reason for that is I want people to be able to build additional income streams while they're still gainfully employed, and having that runway, right, to be able to earn, to be able to save, so that when you make the decision to jump solo, right, you're not starting from zero.
Yeah, that is really pretty incredible, because I know that when a lot of people, when they go solo, they spend the first 6 months just trying to figure out everything they need to have in place.
And sometimes 6 years, right?
Yeah.
Depending on, it takes such a long time to put all the things together. Even if you're going at 100 miles an hour, it's a lot to
Yeah.
consume. And some of it just takes time. And so, having done it multiple times while on a 9-to-5, and, I just stepped away from corporate, Donna. I left my corporate job in December, 4 months ago. And the very
Wow.
next month, I had, 4 and 5 figure months, there, ready, right? So I probably have earned north of 5-figure months so far this year, from 5 different products,
That's amazing.
right? So I want that for others. I really do.
That is amazing. Good for you. Okay. I want you to tell people how they can connect with you and where they can learn more about what you do.
Absolutely. So you can find me on just about all the socials. I am Stephen A. Hart. And if you hop over to stephenahart.com, there you'll be able to find information on my podcast, on Beyond One, and other things that I do.
Awesome. And that information will all be in the show notes, so you don't have to worry that you missed it. So get it there. Stephen, thank you so much for your time today and your knowledge and sharing it with the audience.
Donna, I'm grateful to you for inviting me on. I'm excited to hopefully help somebody who consumed this episode to improve on their efficiency, or uh, their exercise, their walking.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.